Hello there, welcome back to the channel and another Star Trek video for you. This time on something of a beta canon vessel, but a ship I actually rather like, and that is the USS Peregrine. This vessel was a ship commissioned in the 23rd century as a response to the presence of the new and advanced Romulan bird of prey encountered by the USS Enterprise and numerous other outposts and smaller vessels along the Romulan border in the 2360s. Now, as I said, this vessel is beta canon, which isn't something I normally step on, but I really like the design and it seems kind of natural considering things that are in deleted scenes in the episode and the universe at large, that if your enemy's got something that you kind of like or is dangerous or potentially powerful, you try to counter it in some way. The Federation's not stupid, Starfleet is not an ignorant organization. Of course they would have tried this. So before we get into it, let's like, share, subscribe, comment down below. It all helps the channel grow. And that said, let's get into the USS Peregrine. Now, to flesh out this ship, we've got to look at the context of the galaxy at the time. The Federation had been at peace, somewhat, with the Romulans for about 100 years. Very little, if any, contact had been made between the two powers, at least nothing official in that time period. But then, suddenly, the Romulans strike out aggressively at the Federation, testing their defences along the neutral zone, with a state-of-the-art, brand new warship, which would become known as the Romulan bird of prey. Starfleet, shocked by the sudden re-emergence of the Romulans and their aggression, responded with the development of a new class of ship. Now, a little after this, the Romulans have been developing newer, more advanced cloaking devices. This is how the bird of prey was a testbed for this technology. Starfleet would steal a Romulan cloak and attempt to adapt it to be used aboard Starfleet vessels. Now, this would not ultimately be very successful, with Starfleet not successfully being able to fully adapt a Romulan cloaking device into their power systems. No matter how much they reverse engineered it or tinkered with it, they simply couldn't get there. A new design aesthetic was then adopted. The Romulan bird of prey had proven to be a formidable starship and a good, robust design, so imitation being the highest form of flattery, those who were attacked by the ship chose to mimic it. They built the USS Peregrine as a testbed for new technologies in combat systems, power distribution grids, as well as other auxiliary tactical systems, notably the cloaking device. And although the cloaking device was still not successfully adapted to this ship, as Federation power systems were simply not capable of powering a cloaking device sufficiently for any prolonged period of time to give it any tactical viability without detracting from the starship as a whole, the vessel was still a successful design. It was only 190 meters in length, although it took many of its design cues from the Miranda-class starship, although it was considerably smaller. Although it did still have decent internal mass and a decent warp capability, its top maximum warp speed being classified, but was likely easily equal to that of a Miranda-class, probably a maximum speed of about warp 8 to warp 9. The vessel's armament, as far as I can tell, and I have pored over the images, consists of 6 dual phaser turrets and 2 forward-facing photon torpedo cannons mounted in the nose. These were designed to mimic the Romulan main plasma weapon aboard their ship, but utilizing a Federation resource they already had. Although the vessel's torpedoes were the same as those stored aboard other starships, the launch mechanism at the front of the vessel's prow was designed to fire the torpedoes at near superluminal velocities, meaning the torpedoes could be fired very quickly and rapidly through space. Hitting a target before it likely had the ability to move out of the way, and bear in mind torpedoes can also maneuver through space and through atmospheric environments, meaning these were deadly weapons with a huge amount of kinetic impact, not to mention all the antimatter that was on board them, making them considerably, several orders of magnitude, more powerful than the standard torpedoes launched from, say, a Constitution-class starship of the same era. The vessel, based on its design, was developed sometime in the 2370s, but only one was ever built, as it was not a successful testbed for the cloaking technology which they had truly wanted to use, the Vessel 4. Also, Starfleet was not comfortable with the Romulans seeing that Starfleet was imitating one of their designs and not wanting to truly pay homage and compliment the Romulans on a good design. Starfleet would only build one of these ships as a testbed for new technologies, but those technologies would go on to be used on such vessels as the Excelsior class starship. Otherwise, the vessel had pretty standard Federation systems. Tractor beams, shields as standard, a titanium hull, a primary and secondary shuttle bay as similar to its Miranda-class parent design. It carried shuttles, work bees and other auxiliary craft, including the ability to deploy and carry a small wing of tactical shuttles or fighters if needed, as well as the ability to store military personnel aboard ship, as the vessel's primary role was one of combat. And there we have the USS Peregrine. Beautiful ship, good design, a robust Federation bird of prey, a one-of-a-kind starship that was never truly duplicated or mass-produced, but still went on to have an illustrious career, albeit short-lived. As I said, much of this is beta canon, and believe me, some of that is drawn from all kinds of different resources, but it's the most coherent story of the ship that I can formulate. It's a vessel I quite like. I've seen it bobbing around. I have many pictures of it on my computer. Generally, I've been seeing it bob around the internet for years. I think it's been around since like 2005, maybe even earlier, and someone originally designed it. I think it's a great design. It fits perfectly into the refit era, and it does make sense that Starfleet would have developed such a ship in response to the Romulans' re-emergence and aggression, similar to what they did after the Battle of Wolf 359. They would begin developing ships to counter the new threat and shake them out of their complacency. As strong as the Constitution class was, they were big, sturdy, powerful ships, but they were perhaps a little too big, a little too complicated to build. Something smaller, leaner and faster, more mass producible was needed, and this ship fit that bill rather nicely, fitting right into a niche of long-range patrol vessel and strike ship, which the Starfleet simply lacked generally, as it was often held back by the Federation Council and laws that prohibited the development of warships by Starfleet. What's that? There it is. Also, it should be noted, there is a throwaway line in a deleted scene from the episode Balance of Terror, where the bird of prey first appeared, where Spock mentions to Captain Kirk that the Romulan vessel appears to be built from stolen Federation parts and blueprints. So basically, the reason the Romulan bird of prey kind of looks like it could have been built from a Starfleet shipyard is because it probably was, or at least certain hull components of it were, and the Romulans stole them and married it to their own technology and built their own ship, as it is noted that Starfleet propulsion systems, things of that nature, are more advanced than those used by the Romulans. So trying to steal Federation's or Starfleet's technology would be beneficial to the Romulans in the late 23rd century because it would have enhanced their own. But it is a deleted scene, so again, it's probably a beta canon. I don't believe the Romulan bird of prey is actually really intended to be a stolen Federation design. But it was originally at least conceived of it when it was first written into the episode, which I think is rather interesting, and would add an extra dimension to this ship if both elements of that were canonical, as this vessel would likely be a refitted version of whatever the Romulans stole in the first place. Interesting. But again, beta canon at best. And that brings us all the way to the end of this video. If you made it to the end of this video, thank you for watching, and please like, share, subscribe and comment down below, and check out my website as well as my other channels that are all listed in the description below. I don't know who out there is watching this, but this weekend coming up is Destination Star Trek in London. I'm going to it. I'm going to be dressed up, so is my partner, Mrs. Nerd. She's also going to be being dressed up. And maybe I'll see some people there, but I'm going to be doing plenty of videos while I'm down there. I'm probably uploading them when I come back, rather than trying to take a laptop down there and piss around doing it that way. But I might put some things up on Instagram, so look out for them, which is also all linked in the description below. And again, thank you for watching. Bye bye.